So let's move on to the 64. The 64, such a nice encompassing energy. Whenever I have to deal with the first gene key or the 64, I always remember that they are the covers of the book, the finishing and the end. So for me, 64 is a lot about just like the conclusion of all the keys. It's that kind of, maybe like a keeper of those sacred knowledge. I can imagine 64 to be like a mystic librarian of some sort that knows all the books and knows everything. Yeah, I find people with 64 to be really, they know a lot of stuff, and it's a deep knowledge. They just know it. It's so sacred. And I find that many times people having this type of Virgo archetype combine spirituality with practical knowledge in a beautiful way. It's just, I don't know many people having it, but the ones that do, they just, I don't know where they know all that stuff. So it's fascinating just to listen to them. It's like, wow. What I find really interesting here is that it's partnered with the 63, and 63 is a sacred seal, is looking for the truth. So I find this combination between 63 and 64 like the ones that look for the truth and embody it in a way. I think it's the one of the highest vibrations of the Virgo and the Pisces energy. I put myself in service, and it's a kind of service to discover what the truth is. And it might be, I think it feels more like a very elevated type of Virgo energy. So it's maybe not as much the Excel type, but more like the priestessy, the mental type of priestessy energy. What do you feel about it?
I don't even know where to start. Like there's so much I feel, and like it took me a while to actually start to love the 64. It took me a while because it felt like, oh, it's a gate in the head center, and I always felt it was more juice in the body, and the head and the ashna were like a little bit like less interesting. But I've completely changed the way that I look at it. Maybe starting from the end in a way, like this is after completion, but it's between, it means that nothing is ever complete, you know. Even after completion there's always something more, and that's the whole ideology, we could say, of the I Ching, that there are cycles and cycles and cycles, and everything always changes. And this is tantra, you know. On the bottom it has this yin line where it is, we're never done. It's a continuous discovery of life. And here in some way it does go back to the 29 and that kind of energy. We see that the lower trigram is water, so same as the water goddess, the 29. What I know so many people that have the 64 and that have the 63 as well. There are two crosses. So when you have, like you were saying, Adela, when you have the 64, you're automatically going to have the 63, and there are two crosses that you can have. So either you can have the 26 and the 45. And what I realize with these people is that they are very physically artful. Like one that I know, he has done decoration in houses forever. Like he his brother forever. Like, and he is like, he learned by himself. He started when he was living in Colombia, and he was painting. It became super famous in Colombia. He was doing these, the theater masks, you know, the two masks, the theater masks. So he would do them and make them, and then he would paint them all different. And they were like, they became super popular. And then his whole life, like when he has just created things, even, you know, even music. And that leads me to my partner, who is all about, he has this artfulness, both when it comes to his, like both when it comes to dance and to music and to song, but also like you can put a lamp in front of him that has 2,000 pieces from, like, not IKEA, I don't even think have that complicated things, but you can put anything in front of him and he's just going to put it together. There is this inherent, like this, the 26 has the artfulness of the gift. And it's so practical. I think it's the Virgo energy. It's so practical, and it kind of just sees it. It's like with the 63 and the 64, you have the Virgo and the Pisces. You can kind of see the details, and you can kind of build the world and beyond. So for me, that's a super powerful cross with the 63, the 64, the 26, and the 25. And there are people, what I see, that are physical. They are really physical. Then we have Richard Rudd and the other people that have the cross of consciousness that has that with the 35 and the 5. And they, what I feel, are more kind of etherical. because boundlessness and timelessness, which is the 35 and the 5, you know, they are not as tangible as the 45 that kind of gathers things and is in the bond at 26. So they are more like Richard Rudd. They are so inventive when it comes to their minds, when it comes to the traveling to other places beyond here. So that's a very different kind of energy, but somehow like the mystical artist more than the like kind of physical artist. And I know this was long, but I believe if you watch this and you have either the 64 and 63 together with the 25 and 26 and the 45, or with the 5 and the 35, you know, this can be, you know, you can think into yourself or to somebody, you know, because yeah, I've watched them and I see this and I love it. And for me, it is the artist, like the way that we named it. It is an artist, but there's so many different ways. And with this Pisces Virgo energy, like there are thousands and millions of ways of being an artist. And I believe that the 64, it's always like a unique artist. It's its own unique artist that is never stagnant, but always kind of evolving and imagining what's beyond and what's beyond, you know.
Yeah, beautiful one. Can we activate this for 1 week in our in our chart? My ex-husband has 63 as his life work, and he's an artist, and he does brilliant artwork. And what I wanted to share, it was funny, I remembered it now. So about 2 weeks ago, my fiance had some body work, and the person that came home and did the body work, I really felt he must have sacred seals somewhere. Can I do your chart? And of course, he had 64, 63, and this incarnation cross you're talking about. And when he prepared like his ritual and everything there, he took a small statue of a Buddha without a head, a headless Buddha. And I was, wow, that's so interesting. Where did you get that from? And I was like, trying to see. And he was like, I didn't get it from anywhere. I just dropped it one day and the head of the Buddha but it was like, the body of Buddha, and it was like perfectly cut. It seemed perfectly cut without a head. And for me, that was like the 64 going towards the 65. And I always feel that people having this key, they're like looking for the next one. What would be like the 65, let's say, activation? And I think they just tune into something else. But the headless Buddha for me was like, oh yeah, I like this one. Yeah. Okay.